I'm going to be touching on the following types of discharges: bad conduct discharge, dishonorable discharge, and other than honorable discharge. General under honorable conditions is still honorable, and then obviously honorable is honorable. I have two things for you. First thing, if you're brand new, learn what an intent to file is. This preserves your effective date, so do it right now. Like, get into your va.gov account and get your intent to file in. It's the first step in any claim. You preserved your effective date, so when you win, you're going to get paid back till today. So you get 9 months back pay. Intent to file is important, and it expires every year. So if you don't get your shit together, it's fine. File another intent to file next year. Anytime you're engaged with the VA, actually, you should always have an intent to file open. I have one open, just like a little placeholder, but it's a legal placeholder. How to apply for a military discharge upgrade. You do not need to upgrade an honorable discharge because it's honorable. You probably already knew that. A general discharge under honorable conditions is the same thing. It's also honorable. No need to upgrade it. Whatever. You got kicked out minorly. How do I know? Because it happened to me. I have a general discharge under honorable conditions. I could give two shits if it says honorable or general. That's not the fight that I want to have. I want to have the fight with the VA, and I want to make sure that I get the compensation I deserve. So you are going to have a different kind of discharge, and we're going to need to get that addressed, and I'm going to go into that. But basically, I struggled during Desert Storm, and, I got steamrolled. I had combat PTSD, had no clue. They just rolled right over me. And like last year, I filed another mental health claim, and when I was writing my personal statement, I was talking about my work life, and it's like, shit, my entire work life has been affected from this combat PTSD. Like, it literally started in Desert Storm. They kicked me out and fired me, right? So I've lost every job since then. So I know what it feels like to get kicked out of the military. It sucks. I got like the slap on the wrist version. Whatever. I'm not proud of it. I don't brag about it, but whatever. It is what it is. Whatever kind of discharge you have, you got to work on it. There's ways to fight it, and that's the point of this video, and that's what we're going to go into. You could Google how to apply for a military discharge upgrade. I've actually never even tackled this topic, so I did some research. I'm going to do a screen share, but they're not advertising what you do. I mean, at the end of the day, you did stupid shit. You got slapped. Maybe you got slapped hard. Maybe you got thrown in the brig, thrown in jail or whatever. And you ended up with one of these 3 shitty discharges. No matter what the VA says and fights you on it or whatever, you were fine when you entered basic training. You were ready to die for your country, and you did stupid shit, and you got caught, and you got charged, and you got busted, and you got discharged and kicked out. They still owned your ass, and you were fine when you went in there. This is not your fault for that discharge. Sure, you did it and got caught or whatever, but they are also in this as well, and they don't really advertise this at all. So that's why this whole thing of a military discharge upgrade even exists. I didn't even know about this till a year ago either. All right, let's talk about them. I wrote them down. Bad conduct discharge. Bad conduct discharge is a punishment for a military crime. It results in confinement to a military prison for a short period of time. No benefits are available to veterans with a bad conduct discharge. Challenge that shit. It's a little slap on the wrist and you did a little time in a military prison. I didn't do that, so I got the general one, I guess. I could have easily gotten a bad conduct if I was a little bit more of a smart ass and I decided to kick somebody's ass in there. Instead, I just talked shit. Dishonorable discharge, the worst one. Serious offenses, right? Murder, desertion of duty, stuff like that. I remember sitting in a foxhole during Desert Storm, and I was all pissed off. And I was like, damn, you could actually get shot for sleeping on post. Like, is this a civil war? Like, it's probably still a law in the book. Like, if you're on duty, I think you could get shot in 1991. They could like execute your ass. But this is a serious one. The dishonorable discharge is it's a problem, and you're not going to get benefits, but you can fight it. The Third kind is a other than honorable discharge. A judgment of other than honorable is when a military is in trouble with the civilian court system for reasons like felony convictions leading to imprisonment. Again, all these things, bad conduct discharge, dishonorable discharge, other than honorable discharge, you had a partner in crime and that was active duty service. They owned your ass and they have some responsibility. Something happened to you while you're on active duty to make you do what you did or decide to do what you did. So they have some culpability here. So a bad conduct, other than honorable or dishonorable discharge, is basically a character service, and it's shown on your DD-214, obviously. Mine says general. It doesn't look great. Wish it would have said honorable, but I mean, it's on there. Shit happened 30 years ago. So, a change in reason for your discharge is a change in the narrative reason for separation. So that you're changing the narrative, the story the military used to kick you out. You're changing that. You're not erasing it. You're just changing the narrative. And I mean, there's so much stuff. Misconduct, disability, personality disorder, adjustment disorder. That's what I got diagnosed with. Homosexual conduct. You get kicked out for that. Like all sorts of wacky reasons. It's a narrative. I mean, think about it. Murder's different. I still think that there's probably some reason why you did what you did. You're probably still in Leavenworth, so you probably aren't getting YouTube in there. But you know what I mean? It's a narrative. So that's the goal, is to change the narrative that's in place by upgrading your discharge with your own narrative. So you need to figure out what you can do. Each branch has their own discharge review board. You have to understand what powers they have, what they can do and what they can't do. There's deadlines. You have 15 years from the date of your discharge to apply to the discharge review board. So that might have been 30 years ago. So you won't fit in that category. Hopefully you're within that 15-year mark and you're within these boundaries. Again, more VA law. If you're this, you get this. If not, beat it. If you're in this sweet spot or whatever, and you have room to explain your narrative, then you got to figure out what your narrative is, and you need to explain why your version of events is more likely than not, to use a VA phrase, better than their version of events. Because you're really talking to the VA for a change in narrative. The military stuff happened. They think you suck and you spent time in jail or whatever you did. So let's look through some of the different things. I'm going to do some screenshots here. So here we are on the VA's website. How to apply for a discharge upgrade. Step-by-step instructions. We're going to walk through this. All branches of military consider you to have a strong case for discharge if you could show your discharge was connected to any of these categories. All branches of the military consider you to have a strong case for a discharge upgrade if you can show your discharge was connected to any of these categories. Mental health conditions, including post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It's not limited to that. It's including that. So adjustment disorder, major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, traumatic brain injuries, sexual assault or harassment during military service. At VA, we refer to this as military sexual trauma. Sexual orientation, including the don't ask, don't tell policy. You're going to need medical evidence and a current diagnosis. Obviously, if you're going to go for a discharge and they say you could have one of these problems, I don't know how they prove the so you're going to need to have a diagnosis and some kind of evidence of these things happening. They'll probably be in your military records because you were kicked out, depending on your discharge. But current symptoms are something you're probably still living with, especially if you're, fell in any of these. Sexual harassment, you're still dealing with that. Sexual assault, if you're raped or something like that, military sexual trauma, that doesn't go away. TBIs, those don't go away. Mental health conditions like PTSD, they don't go away. So let's get started. How to apply for an upgrade. I was in the Air Force. What year? 91. Before 92. I'm old. Which of the following describes? I suffer from an undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or untreated mental health condition, including PTSD. So they called this, before I got actual major depressive disorder and PTSD, they called it unspecified depressive disorder, I think, and unspecified anxiety disorder. So that kind of stuff would be on there. So here's the list of everything, and you click a box. So if I was going to do this, and again, I have a general discharge. It's still honorable. No point in upgrading it. You know what I mean? It's a waste of my time. I don't care. Do you want to change your name, discharge date, or anything written? No. I want to change only my characterization of discharge, reenlistment code, separation code, and the narrative. So the narrative is what you're after here. The narrative is you did what you did and they kicked your ass out and you were 22 years old and you didn't know what you were doing and you're up against the government. You want to change the narrative reason for the underlying condition of the discharge. Was your discharge the outcome of a general court-martial? Yes or no? So a couple different lanes to go here. Most of the people I've been talking to have not been mentioning general court-martial, so I'm going to focus on administrative stuff. Have you previously applied for and been denied a discharge? And in most cases, it's kind of a mixed bag. Some people have tried. Some people figured there's nothing they can do. So let's just go with no, I haven't tried. So review your answer. Air Force, discharge before 92, PTSD. I only want to change the characterization and the narrative reason. It was the outcome of a special or summary court-martial. I think it was called 35-10 for me. I've never tried to challenge it, and I completed a period of service, but I didn't receive paperwork, get my results. And so you fill out this questionnaire, and they'll give you a path to go. So for me, in this scenario, based on your answers, you need to complete Department of Defense Form 149 and send it to the Board for Correction of Military Records, the BCMR for the Air Force. They have one for each branch of the service. And then it tells you download and fill out DOD Form 149. Pay special attention to item 6. Do you have a condition? Did it get worse? You start getting into these questions. For you guys that are watching this that haven't even filed a VA claim yet, a lot of this language is very similar. So I'm sure this is going to be kind of foreign to you, but, get into the claim process and start learning the way the VA talks. And, it's just kind of funny. I scanned through here and this one popped up. Item 10S, so you're willing to appear in person. Hell yeah, I am. I'll fly my happy ass out there and defend myself all day long. This happened because of you. And then, of course, if you would like help, you could go to a VSO. A lot of people go the lawyer route. I don't know if it's low or no cost. I would, that's a decision you're going to have to make. I don't know if I would use a VSO personally because I'm never using one again. I don't know if a lawyer is right for me. Most likely, you just took what you got like I did. I could go fight mine on my own. No problem. I have the medical evidence. I know how the VA works. But that's a decision you're going to have to make. But they're trying to, send you down the rabbit hole, and these guys are not going to give you the medical evidence to back up your PTSD. So they scroll through here, your military record, medical records, buddy statements, testaments to achievements since service, issues with drugs and alcohol and bad behavior. I still have that today. Mail in everything and all your supporting materials, and they give you the address at good old Randolph Air Force Base. And it says, unfortunately, you can't submit this one online. I scroll back up here. I saw something else. Oh, yeah, I just want to kind of look at the form here. So you fill it out. This is a PDF, so you can, check stuff and put your name, combat, Craig, service number, give them everything. What characterization do you have? I have honorable conditions general, but it doesn't matter because it's the same as honorable. So it was an entry-level separation and basic. You fill this out accurately, and you want to make sure your supporting evidence is solid. So you're going to have to get in here and learn this. And if you're a conservator or a guardian, or you're doing it for somebody that's incapacitated or deceased, then you're the one that's going to have to learn how to do this stuff.